2022. Let's head right into the KUAM News Link Zoom room where we have the Executive Director of the Guam Ethics Commission, Jesse Quenga, joining us here. Good morning, Jess. Thanks for coming on.
Buenas, Biba Mes Chamorro Tobat.
Viva!
I heard you dubbed yourself Tobat now. So
Yeah, Bolbeck. Yep. Mr.
Okay.
Bolbeck. Jess,
Tobat, okay.
I know you wanted to come on because you got a big announcement. I know you guys got the legal counsel. You also went through a bunch of staff trainings. That being said, what is the big announcement?
Well, thank you so much first, Chris, for allowing me on your show to make this announcement. As you know, the commission has been working diligently to ensure that we have a fair complaint process laid out so that members of our community as well as employees have an outlet to raise ethical violations that we can adjudicate here with the commission. So starting today, individuals can give our office a call and work with us in order to file officially their ethics complaint for the commission to adjudicate. We're really wanting to get that word out. I think this is the best platform to do so and get everyone aware as to the process. There is an application involved, but I want to get into the details after you ask me more of your questions. But essentially, the big headline here is that you can now file your ethics complaint with the Guam Ethics Commission.
Thank you. Jess, what is the phone number?
Our phone number is 969-5625. And don't forget to enter your area code 671. So it's 671-969-5625.
You mentioned the application process. I mean, just the process in general. Could you just take us from phone call to, I guess, submission of the actual complaint?
Of course. First, we want to encourage persons to give us a ring. That will allow the team to review and set up a scheduled time for you to discuss your case, elements, evidence that you might have, what the case is surrounding, who are the officials involved. And from there, the team has been trained and prepared to walk you through the process. And eventually, when they feel comfortable enough, placing that information in your own words on an official application. This application is necessary in order for the commission to acknowledge that this has been filed officially for their review and for their further action. There are some things that we need to establish for there to be jurisdiction over. There are three elements that we hope to achieve. One is that the complaint involves an actual employee. An employee spans all government entities, including officials at the Guam legislature and the judiciary of Guam, as well as autonomous and semi-autonomous entities. The second is that the complaint has happened within the past 3 years, or unless there was some type of act preventing discovery of the complaint, then we can get into the details of that as to whether it meets statute of limitations. And then the third would be that it falls within any of the 8 matters that the commission itself has jurisdiction over. And that expounds things like gift reporting, conflicts of interest, handling confidential information, unfair treatment, to name a few. But a lot of those things are discussed in detail with the complainant when they make the call and have that appointment with our office. Once it's received, yes, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jess. Go ahead, sorry.
Once it's received by our office, then we go through internal review. We try to do what's called a conflict of interest scrub, which is where the staff will acknowledge and disclose if they have any potential conflicts of interest with either the person filing the complaint or the individual the complaint is against. And so we try to mitigate those conflicts of interest early on in order to ensure that there's a fair process throughout. Eventually, we present this to the commission, and it's the commissioners who then decide, of course, whether or not they wish to proceed with the case, pending that they have jurisdiction over it, or if the case is dismissed, and then it goes from there.
Jess, what if someone's listening and they say, "Oh, I'm a big boy or a big girl. I just give me the application. I'll fill it out myself."
Yes, we can do that, but we definitely want to have that individual's contact information. Perhaps there might be some things that were written in there that we need clarification over. Of course, if there is a hearing scheduled, we also want to be able to reach out to this individual to provide testimony should the commissioners want to hear from them directly. And that will ultimately just go towards supporting their case. So those are just some key elements that we look for when we're working with individuals. And we can go through that, I think, on a case by case. But One thing that was clear, I think, throughout the training was confidentiality. We can assure all of these individuals filing the complaint that their identities are kept confidential under strict trust within the members of the commission, as well as the team members that are handling your complaint.
Jess, regarding the confidentiality, what if the person who is filing the complaint bound by any type of confidentiality agreement? Are they able to disclose that they filed a complaint?
So I'm glad you raised that question. Once the complaint is filed, it becomes confidential under the act that established the commission, where the individual is barred from sharing any information related to the complaint, and it is just restricted to the assigned employees, management, and the commission members, as well as the attorneys as the act permits sharing of information. So I guess in a short way of answering that, we cannot disclose that in order to protect both the complainant and the person being accused. Eventually that information will get out, but it would be only after that fair hearing process.
So if I filed let's say just theoretically, if I filed a complaint and I wasn't satisfied with the movement on it, I couldn't go to the media and say, hey, I filed a complaint, 7, 8 months ago, like we're seeing with the GBME where, they file a complaint and then the dog ate it or whatever. And then you have these people coming out publicly saying, hey, they're not moving on this. That we're not able to do that with the Ethics Commission. What would then happen to the complaint?
I wouldn't want to get too caught up on the details. It would depend on the circumstance because it would require the commission to acknowledge that it has jurisdiction over, and council will advise us if in fact that there is information disclosable or information that isn't. Ultimately, too, it requires the commission to give permission for such disclosure. Ultimately, if the commissioners themselves say, we permit disclosure, or the complainant agrees that we want to share this information, I think they'll take that under advisement and render a fair decision.
Are there any timelines of, I guess, for example, first, could you provide, and I know you haven't had any, complaints officially filed, but what would you estimate or guesstimate the timeline is from pick up the phone to submission of a complaint? I understand it really does depend on a case by case type situation, but do you have an estimate for that? And then upon filing of the complaint, are there any timelines that the commission is obligated to follow? I mean, could it take a year, 6 months?
Statutorily, there are no requirements. I know that for the office, we are setting best business practice. So that would mean when an individual files a complaint and has it all on our official paperwork, then we would have a strict timeline for turnover, which they would complete the review and then present that over to management and eventually a recommendation to the commission. One of the things that we do need to be compliant with is the open government law. So if staff can fulfill their end of the review process, then we would seek an announcement on the paper to say, the commission is meeting, and we would need to do the 5-day public notice followed by a 48-hour notice before the hearing. So essentially, I think within just the intake process, we expect anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks in order to finish the staff review and then ensuring compliance with the open government law. Beyond that, then there are certain procedures that are in place, things like where we would request from the accused a formal response to the complaint in order to hear their information as to, whether they agree or disagree with what they're being accused of. And then if we receive a response or we don't receive a response, we call for another meeting with the commission and present those findings to them. At that level, the commission will decide whether to proceed with a formal hearing or not. And then there are certain timelines that are built in the actual act of the Guam Ethics Commission that allow us to give them, say, 20 days in order to formally respond to such a request, like a formal response to it.
Jess, I don't know if we covered this before. Anonymous complaints. Let's say there's just something too big, and it's too big. I don't want my name on it. The people, could get killed or there's a conspiracy. But I definitely want the Guam Ethics Commission to look into it. Is there a mechanism for people to submit anonymous complaints?
We can accept complaints at all levels, including complaints that are raised anonymously. The challenge will be that we cannot provide updates to that individual if we don't know who they are. We couldn't even, I think, guarantee that it would move forward if we don't have an official individual alleging this complaint and saying, I'm rising to cause the commission to review such an allegation. But there are other steps, if the commission itself, if the staff are, in tune with the news and they find like there might be something here of a violation, then it would require now a vote of 5 commissioners to enable a complaint to move forward, even without an official signed complaint form.
So are the staff, I'm sorry if I missed this, are the staff the trained investigators? Who's trained to investigate these complaints?
So there are 2 ways that we collect information. First, it will be from the complainant and whatever information they have. The staff continue to undergo training and investigation, but we are looking at recruiting what would be our prosecution counsel, who can serve as a dual role of investigator plus the attorney or counsel responsible for presenting this case before the commission. Recently, you heard us recruit legal counsel. We think we want to separate those 2 roles because we don't want there to be any type of conflict. Legal counsel essentially should advise the commission guidance on whether their interpretation of the law is sound and correct, while the prosecution counsel is responsible for getting all the evidence together and arguing the case on behalf of government in order to get a conviction from the commission.
Right. Okay. Jess, are you anticipating any initiation of a complaint process today? I know that last time we spoke, you said that people had tried to make complaints. I guess since then, have others approached the office to make complaints? And did you make any arrangements for anybody to begin any type of filing today on the kickoff date?
While I was doing this interview with you, Chris, I heard someone walk through the door. So that might just be our first complainant. I imagine that others do listen to your show because they've come in, I think, immediately following a story by KWM. So I expect that shortly we're going to get a number of folks coming through the doors, and then we're going to help them along the whole process. And so in any way that we can provide assistance and guidance, if you, and this is a call out to the community, if you have reason to believe that a violation did occur and that our office can adjudicate that violation, then I encourage you to contact our number at 969-5625, and we'll be able to provide you with assistance.
Sorry, Jess, last question. Where's the office?
Our office is currently located at the GCIC building. We're on the 9th floor, suite 903.
Got it. Okay. That's a pretty exciting elevator ride, going up 9 floors at GCIC. Thank you, Jess. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bobat. Yeah,
All
have a good
right.
one.
There you go, Jesse.